Welcome to the Mindfully Masculine podcast with Charles and Dan, where we take a conscious, holistic, and direct approach to relationships, mental health, and self-improvement. For additional content, visit our website at mindfullymasculine.com. And to interact with us, our guests, and your fellow listeners, join the Mindfully Masculine group on Facebook.
Good morning, Charles. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. I'm doing well. Got some fun stuff to report, kind of.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
A couple things. So I have started a new journaling practice that I'm doing every morning.
Okay.
It's called Morning Pages, as described in the book The Artist's Way by some lady. Let me look up her name. Let's see. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
And this method comes highly endorsed from one of my favorite authors she's one of my favorite authors, but I've only read one of her books. She's more one of my favorite podcast guests, I think would be an accurate way to say it.
Okay.
Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love and Big Magic. And she says that this book, The Artist's Way, and the journaling practice of Morning Pages has changed her creative life and had positive influences on her personal and professional life as a whole.
So what's the foundation here about Morning Pages?
Every morning you get up before you do pretty much anything else. In my case, I make coffee first. And you write 3 full pages of stream of consciousness journaling.
Does it have to be 3?
It has to be 3 full pages.
Wow.
Yeah. And that sounds like a lot. It's even more when you're actually doing it.
Yeah. So how long does that take you typically?
Today took me 37 minutes. It's taken me as many as 49 minutes.
Wow.
So I have created a recurring event on my Google Calendar to start every morning at 5 a.m.
And how's that going? How are you feeling about it?
Well, I'm not doing it at 5 a.m. yet, but that is gonna be what I start doing. I'm doing it when I wake up now, but starting on Monday, because I'm going to be starting yoga on Monday mornings at 6:30.
Good for you.
And,
I am not. I know we talked about that.
I was going to say I expect to see you there.
Yeah, I will not. I might join you at some point. Right now, I'm still reorganizing and getting my schedule and my patterns in the right order for my lifting for working out at the gym.
Gotcha.
That's still been inconsistent, and part of that has also been me not having consistent wake up and at bedtimes. And I'm working on that first. Once I get there, I'll be up for doing some yoga for sure.
All right. Sounds good. One of the things that Jordan Peterson used to always say was how important a routine was. And for his end, he always emphasized it on the wake up time. He's like, if you wake up at the same time every day, the going to sleep part, if you're committed to waking up at the same point, the time you go to sleep will kind of take care of itself.
Yeah.
So make waking up the priority, and the going to sleep part will work.
I like
out.
that. It definitely changes my perspective. So, I mean, you just said you spent a lot of time doing these morning pages. What have you been getting out of this so far?
I have noticed that there are, I don't want to get into too much detail, but one of the things that Liz Gilbert mentioned was, or maybe it was Julia Cameron, and I listened to a podcast where they were interviewed, and the things that you see keep coming up in your stream of consciousness journaling are the things you probably need to give some attention to.
Mm-hmm. Makes total sense for sure.
Yeah. And so if you notice yourself continually, your brain goes to a certain place and you keep referencing your job dissatisfaction or the hobby that you're not giving enough time to, or your relationship with your mother or whatever it is, if that keeps coming up, time after time, as you're just jotting down whatever pops into your head, then maybe that's something that you need to give some give some thought to and start asking yourself some questions about. And I have noticed some of those developing fairly quickly over just 4 days worth of doing the practice. I am seeing, oh yeah, this keeps coming up. That's interesting. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
I think for Liz Gilbert, it was learning Italian, and she decided, oh, I need to. So I hope something that pleasant will become my repeating thing, and not something as dramatic as what I'm currently seeing.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I wish I had some cream in my coffee. Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Yeah. Huh. That just make the whole day better. If it was only that easy. It was only that easy, right?
Yes. Let's see. So what else is so here's another thing. And this I'm giving credit / blame to you for. So get ready.
Bring it.
So you and I had a conference call scheduled about our podcast, and I was not able to join it because I forgot about it, and I didn't get reminders, and I wasn't in an area with any reception. So you had to do it yourself.
So I can see how that's my fault. Okay. All right. Yes, I see where you're going with this. Gotcha.
Yeah, all right. Yes. We've already started with assigning blame to you for all that. Okay. And then next was the part where I messaged you to catch up with you to see how the call went and see, since I wasn't on it, what I need to know about this.
Yeah.
And then you sent me the link to get some time on your calendar.
Yeah.
With the scheduling service you use. And I decided, my daily weekly schedule lately has been a little chaotic for even my tastes, which I have a pretty high tolerance for chaos, but just kind of
or preference.
Yes, preference.
I changed tolerance to preference. Okay, yeah. Well, fair enough. We'll agree to disagree on that. Okay, all right. Yeah.
No, you're right. We'll agree to agree. You're absolutely right. So it's been a bit chaotic for me, and I decided that I needed to do something about that. So now I'm going to use a scheduling app like yours. I decided to go with Calendly because I read that seems to be the big dog in the doghouse.
Yep.
With and I've integrated it with my Google Calendar and my Outlook calendar, and set up my preferred times. And I'm going to sometime this weekend make my calendar available to my clients to let them start scheduling time with me for both calls and on-site visits.
That's great.
But it does require a high level of commitment to keeping your calendar accurate, because you do not want to decide to do an impromptu beach trip in the middle of the work week and then have a client grab some spot where it's like, okay, now I've double booked myself and there's no way I'm going to be able to pull this off.
So not to go too deep in the weeds here on the podcast, but I use Schedule Once, and I don't know if Calendly has this functionality, but Schedule Once allows you to say, okay, so it'll you can set up recurring blocks of time. So even when I don't have anything scheduled, sometimes I'll just put in like an appointment with myself to say, hey, this is time I'm typically eating lunch or working out.
Right.
Even if I don't do it at that time, I have that so that nobody can schedule calls during that time. The other thing is it'll allow you to say, all right, don't allow a client to schedule something more than or less than X hours in advance. So it can't like pop up in your calendar 2 hours before, but beforehand. So I had like a 3 or 4 hour window where they wouldn't allow you to schedule something. It's been good. And then, also make sure you schedule like little blocks of time in between appointments. So you have like 10, 15 minutes. It's not back to back to back. All those things will work themselves out, but correct. You need to have one calendar that has all your appointments on there for sure
Yeah. And I have, let's see, you just reminded me of settings. So for on-site visits, I am not letting my clients schedule those less than a day in advance. And then for 15-minute tech support calls, 2 hours in advance for those.
Oh, nice.
So I'm hoping that I'll be able to make that work. Another thing I've decided to do is dedicate 1 day a week to personal and professional development. So I will handle work emergencies because it's a Wednesday. That's the day that I pick. So I will address, emergencies if I need to. But other than that, that day is for learning skills and having meetings and talking and thinking about our podcast and doing stuff like that. So Wednesday is going to be my day for that, which putting it in the middle of the week does seem like it could have some challenges, but I think I can pull it off.
Yeah. No, that's great. A little bit more, planning and just setting your intentions. I've done that too, and I've gone to from one extreme where it's completely chaos to trying to plan every little thing. And I find myself kind of floating in the middle between total planning and chaos. So and speaking of which, I'm excited that we're bringing on a kind of a podcast manager for us. So
yes,
we'll have a little bit more organization and be able to really start, I feel, moving this podcast in a forward positive direction to be able to make it grow, help it grow.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things, we talked about last week, the idea of, spending your effort and your money on coaches and experts to help you, get past whatever point you're currently at. And bringing somebody on board that we are paying them for their advice, as you watch the money move from you to them, and that their advice is good, that does provide incentive for you to actually take their advice and follow through on it. So, I mean, because it's one thing to have them tell you to do something that you agree with is a good idea, and then experience the shame of telling them that you haven't done it. But on top of that, you're giving them money to tell you.
Yeah, it's got to sting. It's got to sting in a couple different areas for you to, for me anyway. I shouldn't say you in general. I say for me, exactly. I need multiple hot stoves to burn my fingers on a few times to learn the lesson, right? Or to change my ways.
When I was in college, I went to Old Town in Kissimmee, and they had a bungee jumping tower, and I decided to do it. And I got to the top of it, and I was like, I'm not sure this is a good idea. And the guy's like, well, we're going to keep your money whether you jump or not. And I was like, all right, here we go then.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. So hopefully our interactions with our new manager coach will be similar, where it's like, you're going to pay me whether you take my advice or not. So I guess I'm taking your advice then.
Yeah, right.
Tell me what to do. Exactly.
So I'm excited for that. I think I met her at Podfest last a few weeks ago, and we seem to connect in terms of our mission and in terms of men's mental health, and being able to spread that message and have some great conversations around that, as well as personal development books around those topics as well. So I think she's going to be a good fit for us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm sorry that I didn't get to speak with her once, but like I told you yesterday, the day before, it's like if you got a good impression of her and you think she knows what she's doing and she can help us out, then that's good enough for me. So we'll get it done.
Appreciate that.
So here's another thing I decided: the Mankind Project is starting up their in-person events again. Only for fully vaccinated individuals like myself, I'm sorry to tell you.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get together and mutate, and I believe I'm going to go to their Mankind Project New Warrior training that is taking place in early September up in Millington, Tennessee.
Okay. All right. So and what's on the agenda for that?
It's some sort. Basically, it's a substitute initiation from boyhood to manhood that Western society doesn't believe in or practice anymore. So this is a way for you to get together with other men that find value in such an experience and go experience it with them.
So
it goes from Friday night to Sunday night.
That's a long bar mitzvah. Where do I send the check?
Yes, again, our Jewish brothers and sisters, Jewish brothers and sisters are on top of something yet again. Where Western society has unfortunately let that practice go. So
Nice.
I'm planning on doing that in September. I'm trying to find a good campground. So the experience I'm looking for is I'm going to drive up and I'm going to engage in the festivities Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'm going to find a tent campground where I can just go and sleep on the ground and try to stay real connected to my more primitive side for the whole weekend.
So, for people who don't know what the Mankind Project is, why don't you just kind of give a little overview of what that is and how you found them, by the way?
Yeah, so I found them through a 3-session online men's group that they have as kind of an introduction to what it is they do. So I'll just read from the Who We Are page on their website. We are a passionate and purpose-driven brotherhood building and supporting the emotionally mature, accountable, and compassionate male role models that our communities so desperately need. So how great does that sound?
Fantastic. Sign me up.
Non-religious, inclusive.
Unless you're not vaccinated, then it's not really inclusive, is it?
Correct. Right. Yes. So
yeah. Somewhat inclusive, but yeah, no. Exactly. I did the free Zoom calls with them as well. And it was a great experience. I mean, there was 8 or 9 other guys on the call that I was on, and basically went around and just, set some ground rules in terms of interaction. And it's really, a men's support group, for all types of guys. And, the guys' problems ranged, from pretty serious in terms of how people who've tried to commit suicide to, people who just were having some issues at home, with relationships. Right. And, but what was nice was everybody was very supportive, and the people leading it were very professional and knew how to handle all kinds of problems from, and all kinds of personalities. And the goal is really to get people to interact and have a regularly scheduled type of support meetings for everybody to just be able to, talk in a safe space about what they're going through.
Yeah, I definitely got a lot of value out of it, and it did lead me to keep my eyes peeled for when they open back up to in-person events, and I'm looking forward to trying it out and seeing what it's about, and then either recommending it or telling people to steer clear based on my experience.
Well, we definitely want to hear a full report when you go or after you come back.
I'll definitely. That's another thing I wanted to ask you about. I was going to say I will definitely take my bullet journal with me and make plenty of notes while I'm there. Are you still bullet journaling, and how's that going for you?
So I've changed it. I haven't. Okay. I took a pause from it. I felt like it was, again, I was doing probably too much in it. And so instead of paring it down, I ended up shifting over to going back to the 5-minute journal, and then writing out my task list for the week in a different format that is a little bit more, has a little bit more room in it. And so part of the limitation was I picked a journal that was too small for my handwriting and for all the things that I need to do on a daily basis for the tasks. I am still putting some ideas in there. So I just need to kind of get clear in terms of picking and sticking to a time on Sundays to get organized with everything for the week. And that's what I've let slip. I haven't been taking that time to plan my planning, right? To kind of set things up for the week. And then I find I'm already Tuesday or Wednesday when I have a second to breathe. And I'm like, am I really going to do this for like Thursday and Friday? I'll just, and I kind of push it off. So I've let life get in the way. I haven't prioritized doing that, but I will probably be going back to the bullet journal for less things. I'm going to keep my task management in a separate area that I don't need to keep in my bullet journal. I'm going to continue the 5-minute journal, but in terms of like ideas to come back to, I like that. I do like the bullet journal pages and the indexes for keeping track of that stuff. But like my action tasks, it doesn't work for me the way that's laid out. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I'm gonna do is it's funny you mentioned a almost the exact same criticism slash problem I've been running into, which is the size of the book not being big enough. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is my current bullet journal. Let me throw my ribbon in here is flopping around a little bit. So this is the current size
Mhm.
with a couple of Ted Lasso stickers on it, being goldfish and barbecue sauce from the Dart game.
Oh, nice. I don't
Barbecue
remember.
sauce is what he.
Yeah, what was the
Go ahead.
barbecue sauce reference? Well, I
Barbecue
forgot
sauce
about
is when he's about to
it.
throw the final bullseye to beat Rupert at darts.
Okay.
He says barbecue sauce, which is a reference to bullseye, and then he throws a bullseye. Yeah.
Nice.
And
Nice.
then be a goldfish is a reference to him saying that the happiest animal on earth is a goldfish because it only has a 10-second memory.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
let
So,
things go. Yeah.
right, exactly. So this is the current size, and I just for the audience watching, I have small hands, so this is a relatively small book. Um, so it's too small in my opinion. So I just bought a 2-pack of bullet journals on Amazon yesterday,
Mhm.
and they are, I believe this is considered A5. I just learned a little bit about stationary sizing.
Okay.
This is an A5, which is like 5.5 by 8, I want to say.
It sounds about
And so
right.
I ordered a newer one. It was a 2-pack for $19.99 of 7.6 by 10-inch bullet
Oh,
journals.
there you go. That's
And I
almost full
think that
page.
will
Yeah.
make a
Yeah.
pretty big difference in me being able to fit more things on my pages and stuff like that. Because let me just try to show this from far enough back that you can't read the details. Not that there's a lot of stuff in here about you, but this is what my current pages look like, where
Wow.
here I have the notes for the day. Here I have my daily tasks that I want to do every day. And then
I'm
I
impressed you can
check them
write that
off.
small and legibly.
Yeah.
That is a lot of work. I am
It
not
is.
that. Wow.
Yeah. So I think the bigger bullet journal is going to help me with that because yes, I do have to write very tiny, and
Yeah.
I have terrible handwriting anyway. So trying to pull that off is difficult.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's great. You found that.
Yeah. And then I also ordered a new book for my morning pages because 3 pages a day, you fill up a notebook pretty quickly when you're doing 3 full pages of writing per day.
Yep.
So yeah, if you have a 90-page notebook, then a month later that notebook's done.
Yep. Yeah.
So I always want to have a blank next notebook ready to go so that I don't wake up some morning and I can't do my practice because of poor planning on my part.
I do the same thing with my supplements. I always have a backup because I fill up I have my vitamin cases for the month, and then I've got a bottle, and then I've got a backup bottle for whatever vitamins and supplements I'm taking. So same thing. I don't want to. Yeah. I always have a little back in stock type of stocked up.
Speaking of supplements, still working on getting back in the gym. So I did something. I made a huge step in that fight yesterday, which is I bought some new workout clothes.
Oh,
so
great!
That's an integral part of getting my butt back into the gym. Most expensive workout clothes I think I've ever purchased. Each shirt that I bought was $40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
It's by a company called A7.
Okay.
And they are shirts for squatting. So on the back and shoulders, they have these little rubber grippy things.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Nice.
So when the weight starts getting heavy for me, which is around 225 and up, then it feels a lot safer to have something on your back.
Sure.
Where you don't have to worry about the bar rolling forward or rolling backward when you're at the very bottom. And so I always use a squat rack to lift for safety.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the weight starts getting intimidatingly heavy for me, which really 2 plates per side is bad. 3 plates per side, I'm very nervous. It feels like dying. Every lift feels like dying.
Yeah.
And so to have a little extra confidence that it's not going to roll forward or backward, I think will help me stay excited to do the lifts.
It'll keep you focused for sure.
Yeah. So I ordered those, and I'm ordering some new workout shorts that will be short and distracting for other people in the gym, but will be short enough that I can squat in them and keep everything where it needs to be so that stuff's not falling out and, getting me trespassed at the LA Fitness.
Yeah. God forbid you go to Planet Fitness. They wouldn't even let you in.
No, I use barbells. They don't have those there.
Yeah, no. and somebody just posted a sign from them the other day on his Instagram feed that they don't allow supersetting either. So even like you're not allowed. Yeah. There was a whole bunch of different exercises you weren't allowed to do, and it included supersets. So, basically, and the one around the corner from my house, I remember a couple of years ago, I'd go in there and they had I was smelling I was like, donuts? They were giving away munchkins at the front desk. And then like another day during the week was pizza day at a gym. Yeah. Okay.
Well, they want you to keep coming back. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The pizza parties and the free donuts at the gym is interesting, to say the least.
Makes no sense whatsoever. But yeah, God forbid you try and do a full body workout, in there. So all right, let's get into this here. So we're gonna talk about the next book we're gonna go through. It's Why Hasn't Anybody Told Me This Before?
Why has nobody told me this before?
Why has nobody told me this before?
Yeah, that sounds more British than the version that you said.
She does have quite a British accent.
By Dr. Julie Smith. She is amazing. I love the book. As I said on our Instagram, this is the most practical self-improvement book I've ever read in my life, where at least when it comes to psychology. I mean, I've read some very practical self-improvement books when it comes to working out and exercise and things like that and financial stuff. But when it comes to the psychological aspect of your life and your mental health, this is not a bunch of theory that you have to learn. This is like stuff you can do every day to have a better mindset and a healthier outlook on yourself and on life. So I'm really excited to read it for the second time and then talk about it with you in excruciating detail as we do.
Yeah, no, I liked it because I felt it combined a lot of solid principles from psychology and different methods of psychotherapy, such as like cognitive behavioral therapy. And then there was like a whole bunch of other ones I had never heard of before that she referenced, like cognitive analytical behavior therapy, just like all these, these different terms for some of this. But a lot of she takes those theories and then kind of applies practical coaching and life coaching skills and ideas in terms of how to implement some of these, well-studied, well-researched, psychological and therapy-based practices. So she kind of bridges the gap between, therapy, which is kind of just looking back at all the causes of things, but not necessarily looking at how to change things for the future or how to plan for doing things in the future. And then she does take that information and then applies it to the coaching level, which is actually, hey, how do you get from here moving forward? Right. And so it's a very smooth, transition in terms of going from, hey, this is, identifying the root cause and then having how to take action steps to make that less of an issue or to resolve it entirely.
Yeah, I would say it is a great, another resource that she puts out there, her Instagram is great. The videos that she posts and stuff like that are amazing. I shared them with Renata on my last therapy session on Wednesday, and she loves her now too. And so yeah, it's follow her on Dr. Julie on Instagram. I'm sure she probably has a TikTok too, but I rarely open my TikTok app, and so she's probably Dr. Julie there as well. But yeah, Dr. Julie on Instagram, and the book is amazing. And I wouldn't say, by any means it's a substitute for therapy, but it is a great incremental step. If therapy is something that you're thinking about, give this book a shot, take a look at it, see if you can get some good stuff from it. And as somebody who's already in therapy, I find the book to be a great supplement to, and a great resource for me to have on hand to remind me to do the kind of things that I talk about in therapy once a week. I can refer back to this book and remind myself, when it comes to, actually, I'll read the list of section titles, and you and I are planning on doing an episode for each section of the book. And so I'll read those and give everybody a heads up on what to expect. So
yeah,
section 1, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's nice is even if you're not in therapy and you've been kind of thinking about it, and Charles, as you go, as you hear these sections, you'll get an understanding of, she covers a lot of different topics. And so a lot of different areas that people might not even realize that they're struggling a little bit with, or want to work on. And so, for me, kind of go, oh yeah, you know what? I kind of do have this issue. And she raised my awareness of these different topics in each of these sections in terms of, oh, hey, this is how I behave, and this is how I think I behave. And yeah, I can identify with that. I do struggle in this area. And so it's such a wide breadth of different topics. I guarantee you're going to get some value out of at least part of this book. And again, that's, for me, it was just making me more aware of it. And that in and of itself, just being aware, not even having to go to therapy, not even necessarily following all of her advice, but just bringing that awareness up for me has been valuable. So that's why I've enjoyed it. And that's why I was like, yeah, let's, you suggested to me, and Ariel suggested to you. And so I was like, yeah, I think this is great. We can definitely go deeper on each of these sections. So without further ado, please.
Yes, absolutely. So section 1 is on dark places. Section 2 on motivation, 3 on emotional pain, 4 on grief, 5 on self-doubt, 6 on fear, 7 on stress, and 8 on a meaningful life. And the very last subsection of part 8 on a meaningful life is when to seek help. So at the very end of the book, she's like, here's how you can also determine whether you probably need to go speak with a therapist or somebody like a therapist or not. And so I thought that was great that at the end of the book, she's like, okay, here's everything I have to give you in a book form. Now, if you need help, here's how you can figure out if you need some additional help beyond this.
So now those are the sections, and then there's chapters within each of those sections. Can you read what Dark Places, that first one you talked about? What are the chapters in there, so people get a better understanding of what you mean by dark places?
Yeah. So, and this will be what we do on our very next episode. We'll go through these 5 sections or sub chapters of section 1. Understanding low mood pitfalls to watch out for, things that help, how to turn bad days into better days, and how to get the basics right.
That's great. Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, I'm looking forward. One of the things on my bullet journal is to re-listen to chapter 1, so that when we talk either on Monday or next Friday, we'll be able to be ready to record this and talk about section 1, and I'll have it fresh in my brain. What I'll probably do, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, is I'll probably listen to it twice. Actually, I'll probably listen to it once in my car when I'm driving somewhere. And then the morning before we record, I'll do a little walk around my neighborhood for 20, 40, 60 minutes and listen to it right before you and I hit the record button, so that I'll have it nice and fresh. That's what I did with Jordan Peterson's book. And this book will be much easier to digest and much easier to pull practical, what can I do today type stuff out of than Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to kind of go through this as well with you and just find out how, just talk about what we've been going through on that on each.
Yeah, you want to do one episode a week or 2 a week?
Let's do one. I want to do one a week, and so that we can, bring in maybe some other information as it relates. So we have time to bring in other information as it relates to those topics from her. So, I do the same thing. I'm going to re-listen to that, as I'm walking around, as I'm driving, things like that. But then I'm going to need some time. I'm going to want to do a little bit of need some time to find other resources to, to talk about, those areas. So I think, to be honest with you, for me, be, one day a week would be one chapter a week would be good. And then that gives us also time to maybe, through social lead up and kind of tease what what the chapter is about, and the book, and get people to listen to it or read it beforehand. So and that was one of the free pieces of advice we got from our new podcast manager, and I like that idea. So I think I'd like to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can look for a link in the show notes. I'm going to see if it's possible for me to get our Amazon associate or affiliate, whatever they call that, get that account up and running before this episode releases on Monday. And if so, then either way, I'll provide a link to the book so that you guys can find it on Audible and on Amazon. And it may be an affiliate link that puts a little bit of cashola in our pockets, and it may not be. Depends on how lazy I am this week. So we'll find out. And how fast Amazon can move on such things is that's a factor as well. So
correct.
We'll try it out. So Dan and I will always do our best to remember to tell you about something that we're recommending if we can make a little scratch on it, so that we'll be sure to differentiate between the stuff that we actually like and the stuff we're just saying that we like, so we can get rich off of our fans.
Yeah, I mean, we right now, Charles and I, this is our passion project, and we'd love to be able to make a transition from our full-time jobs to be able to do this full-time and make enough money to support the podcast, have it grow, as well as be able to put food on our table. So of course, anything that you guys can contribute in terms of just clicking on some affiliate links and using those, or any other things you feel like if we bring you value, it's absolutely appreciated, and we'll definitely recognize you on the podcast as well. So we thank you for that in advance.
Well, one thing I have to correct you on, Dan, is there's nothing I want to do full time. That is a misnomer. The best case scenario is doing something that I enjoy part time.
Okay. Yeah.
There's nothing I want to do full time. I mean, even laying on a beach full time doesn't really appeal to me.
No. Okay. Fair enough. I guess I didn't mean full time 40 hours a week, that we typically define that, but maybe exclusively. Rather than multitasking and spreading our time, attention, and energy among different professions at the same time.
Yes, because that does get exhausting, does it not? It does. So
anything else we want to talk about today before we call it a day?
No, I think we're good. I'm looking forward to sharing this book to everybody, and it's been a while since you and I have worked that muscle of going over an author's work with a fine-tooth comb and trying to wring out every piece of value from it. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to doing that again. I feel like this one will be a little bit more like our first book than our second book, because of it being a little easier to read and a lot more practical.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And
all right, cool.
We'll call it a day, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yep, we'll push this out on Monday the 20th.
All right.
See you later, Dan.
Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with us on the Mindfully Masculine podcast. If you liked the episode, or you think it would be useful for someone else, please leave us a review and join the Mindfully Masculine group on Facebook. Remember, fellas, don't act masculine, be masculine.